السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. راح نبدأ الشروحات في الهندسة المدنية أو الدروس في الهندسة المدنية. راح نبدأ أول درس في إدارة المشاريع. مجال إدارة المشاريع جدا كبير، ولذلك راح نقسمه إلى عدة أجزاء. راح نبدأ اليوم بأساسيات إدارة المشاريع. بشكل عام إدارة المشاريع لها مرجع رئيسي في العالم اللي هو PMI Project Management Institute، وتحت PMI عدة certification أو عدة certifications. أهمهم اللي موجود عندهم اللي هو ال PMP Project Management Professionals، وبعدها CAPM Certified Associate Project Manager أو Project Management. وفي اختبارات ثانية مثل أجايل وفي برنس. أغلب الاختبارات اللي تتبع PMI مرجعها الرئيسي هو كتاب اسمه PMBOK. كتاب PMBOK قسم البروجكت مانجمنت إلى عدة knowledge areas، إلى عدة processes. راح نعرف البروسيسز بالبداية. راح نعرف الأساسيات ومن ثم ندخل إلى كل بروسيس. طبعا كل بروسيس راح أعطيها حقها، راح يكون لها سيشن معين على أساس أنه ما يكون ممل نفس الحاجة. فالتركيز الرئيسي اليوم اللي راح يكون في أساسيات البروجكت مانجمنت من دون ما ندخل في البروسيسز اللي راح يكون لكل واحد منهم أو كل اثنين في سيشن واحد. طبعا project management according to PMI منقسم إلى حاجة اسمها fundamentals and then the process groups اللي هن عبارة عن initiation, planning, execution, controlling و closing. راح نبدأ بالfundamentals. أساسيات كثيرة في project management. راح نحاول أن نلخصها بناء على حسب الموجود في PMBOK. والPMBOK راح يعتمد كثير على حاجة اسمها ITTO اللي هو Input, Techniques, Tools and Output. لكل حاجة أو لكل area according to the PMBOK راح تكون مقسمة على حسب input للprocess, tools and techniques required for the process and then the output. وراح ناخذها hopefully بشكل مبسط جدا. الحين الفكرة الرئيسية في هذا كان إني أنا أعمل interactive examples. طبعا هذا من منهج أو اللي راح يكون منهج project management لطلاب الكلية التقنية العليا الفصل القادم. interactive examples، وبناء على الانتراكتيف examples راح نستلخص الأشياء اللي يكون بدل ما يحفظ الشخص يكون يفهم. طبعا أول interactive example was to create a tower. okay. كثير منكم راح يسأل وش الهدف، إنه نضيع كثير من الوقت نسمع tower وغيره، بس the illustration of the teamwork والillustration لكل الأشياء اللي موجودة داخل this particular task راح تفهم كل شخص معنى أو أساسيات project management بشكل عام. okay. So they need to choose 4 to 5 members. One of them is going to be a leader. Time is 20 minutes, so restricted in terms of time. Budget, there will be a budget of $2,000. okay. ليش هذا البادجت أساسا أو شيء رئيسي، الفائدة الرئيسية من البادجت إنه يكون عدة materials أو عدة resources in front of them and they need to buy from this particular amount. So they need to be very careful which resource to buy and how much I need to get. okay. طبعا to make it a bit tricky المشروع كان على أساس إنه يطلب منهم عدة أشياء. واحد tallest, longest or the most beautiful. okay. So المشكلة اللي موجودة هنا إنه the scope is not that clear. في جروب معين راح يكون فيه راح ممكن يتاخذ التولست، الثاني ياخذ اللونجست، الثالث ياخذ أو يحاول إنه يصنع تاور most beautiful. okay. time can be extended plus 5 minutes. So time can 20 minutes plus 5 minutes can be given for students or for the team members if the panel agree. So there will be a panel, they will evaluate ليش الشخص يحتاج extra amount of time. If the reason was acceptable, then the panel can decide to give them. Okay. Bridge construction materials or tower construction materials can be purchased from the panel. So the panel يكون عندها resources. You have been asked to reform a group of 4 or 5 members. You need to choose one leader from the 4 or 5 members. You are restricted with a time of 20 minutes. You have a budget, a maximum budget of $2,000, and then you need to have, the winning tower can be the tallest or the longest or the most beautiful. Okay. Now, after doing this particular task, you will learn a lot of things. First thing, for example, what is the basis of choosing my members, how to choose them, and then after that, how to choose a leader as well. Okay. Now I have a restricted time, how to convince أو كيف أنا أقنع البانل اللي موجود عندي إني أنا آخذ وقت زيادة في حالة أن الوقت ما كفى عندي. هل أنا أحاول إني أنا أعمل tower tallest to longest to most beautiful in the same time، ولا آخذ واحد منهم فقط وأركز على جزء معين؟ طبعا كثير أشياء قد يكون مبهم في البداية، ومن ثم بعد ما تبدأ تقرب راح يعرف التيم ممبر شوي شوي راح يفهم كيف عملية عمل التاور مجرد ما يمسك الريسورسز and he will think a little bit. اوكي. فبشكل عام في الفندمنتالز قسمناه إلى عدة أقسام: project attributes, project constraints, project, what's the definition of a project, project management knowledge areas, project management, project managers. Okay. So in terms of a project، الحين بعد ما عمل teams، بعد ما عملوا teams البروجكت هذا اللي هو creating a tower، what could be the attributes, what could be the fundamentals of a project، وإيش الأشياء الرئيسية اللي موجودة في كل project. فنروح إلى project attributes. أول attribute is unique. Okay. So unique in the sense إنه هذا البروجكت راح يكون مثلا using different resources عن شيء أنا استخدمته. قد يكون أنا سويت تاور سابقا بس ما إلزامي يكون نفس الماتيريال that I have used، or not the same team members, or not the same time. So when it comes to a project, each and every project is unique. There is something different always. Okay. So in terms of my tower, it's unique. Some of the team members, I have dealt with them for the first time. I didn't deal with these materials. Okay. For the first time, I'm restricted with a time limit, with a budget limit. So it's unique in nature. Each and every project is different. Even the teams that are going to build the towers, their towers are going to be different. Okay. So each and every project is unique. Second, project is temporary. You have been given a time limit. There is a beginning and there is an end. So it's like 20 minutes. You can get an extension of 5 minutes, but eventually it's temporary. Progressive elaboration. At the beginning, when they have started, or when they are going to start the tower, they have purchased the resources, they have purchased the materials. It's not that clear yet. في البداية اشتريت أنا الأشياء ولكن غير واضحة الصورة. مجرد ما أمسك أنا الريسورسز وأبدأ أحاول أعمل معهم شوي شوية، the picture will be coming clearer for me. So after making a basic sketch, after trying to combine one or two elements، الصورة توضح. مرور الوقت الصورة توضح. This is the meaning of progressive elaboration. At the beginning, something is not that clear. Wherever time passes, the thing is becoming clearer. Requires resources. طبعا إذا أنا اشتركت في team and I don't have resources، ما عندي materials، I don't have anything to do, then I cannot have a project. Okay. Should have a primary sponsor or customer. Once again, هنا في التاسك which have been given, they need to have $2,000. So if I don't have that amount of money, I cannot create my project. And the difference between a sponsor to a customer is a person normally who owns. شخص يمتلك المشروع, we call it as a customer. يعني أنا مثلا في حالة أنا أريد أبني بيت, إذا هذا البيت, this is called as a my house. So I'm the customer or the client. Sponsor is something different. Sponsor شخص يمول المبالغ بس ما إلزاميا هو يكون الكاستمر. Okay. يعني مثلا أنا my father has given me 50,000 Oman riyals, and then using these 50,000 I constructed my house. So the sponsor is my father, but the customer or the owner is myself. Involves uncertainty. Okay. When it comes to project, everything is in the future. Everything is possible. Okay. For example, let's say أنا عندي هذيل teams, they were sitting in different positions. They have created their towers. At the end, at the last, when they have finished and they have spent all the time, I have asked them to bring their towers to the front. Now I didn't specify that for them from the beginning, so they need to take into account certain things are uncertain. That's a hard thing in project. That's the most beautiful thing in the project as well. Okay. راح نعطي أمثلة بسيطة على هذه الاتريبيوتس so you can understand them better. Okay. So going for unique. For example, this particular example is going to be surrounding a student who is in a college or a college life of a student. Okay. So unique. I'm entering to a college to get a degree. Okay. Now, after finishing the bachelor, will I go to another college to get another bachelor in the same topic? No, of course, because already the first time was unique. I don't need to go and repeat it. This is the beauty of the project. Okay. مرة ثانية, when it comes to unique, الشيء ينعمل مرة واحدة. لما ينعمل تكرار, it's not going to be a project anymore. Okay. Temporary. لنفرض أنا مثلا دخلت الكلية أو دخلت الكوليج in 2016, then I will be graduating 2020. If not 2020, 2021, not 21, 22. There will always be a beginning and end. That's an attribute of a project. It cannot last forever. Progressive elaboration. At the beginning لنفرض أنا دخلت مثلا الهندسة المدنية. At the beginning, الهندسة المدنية is not something which is clear. I don't know a lot of things about it. Okay, so the beginning, I'm in the starting position, and then the last is going to be the graduation. A lot of things are not clear. So first thing, I'll be with the diploma first year. Things are getting little bit clear, and then diploma second year, advanced diploma, things are becoming clearer now. I can explain to the others what's the meaning of civil engineering, what does it cover, and then of course I'll know much more when I'm going to finish my BTech. So the project here is my college studies. At the beginning, civil engineering is not something that is something which is clear. Whenever time passes, you'll see that the thing you know about is something which is clear. Requires resources, of course. Without lecturers, without books, without resources, without internet, for example, like what's happening now, I cannot proceed with my college. Okay, so each and every project requires resources. No project, ما في مشروع على الإطلاق ممكن عمله من دون resources. Sponsors or customer, like for example, the government is sponsoring the students to get, for example, 90 riyals or 45 riyals. الحين who is doing, who is studying? I'm studying. Who's paying for me? The government. So the government is sponsoring me. That's why we call it as a sponsorship. Okay, so it's a sponsor, not a customer. Okay, I'm the one who is going to study, but the government is paying for me. uncertainty. So مثلا أنا المفترض أني أنا أتخرج في 2020 لكن for example I have passed لا سمح الله I have failed some courses. بالتالي بدل ما أتخرج في 2020 راح أتخرج في 2021 أو 2022. same thing cyclone for example نفس اللي صار في جونو أو نفس اللي صاير حاليا with the corona or COVID-19. things are uncertain. مجرد ما نتعامل بحاجة in the future then it's always something which is uncertain, something that you are not sure of. ما متأكد من أي شيء ممكن يصير. على أساس كذا أنا مفترض كنت أتخرج في 2020 الحين. maybe I'll not graduate in 2020, maybe I'll graduate in 2021. I cannot control it. Okay, so these are the attributes, these are the unique things in the project. It's unique. I'm doing it for the first time. It cannot be repeated. Okay, temporary. It has a beginning and progressive elaboration. At the beginning, it's always something which is not clear. Whenever time passes, it's getting clearer. Requires resources. I cannot do it alone. I cannot do it without anything. Should have a primary sponsor or customer. There should be always a person who is going to give me the funds or supply me with the funds. It's always involving some kind of uncertainty. It's not always something assured. ما أتعامل مع شيء في الماضي أكون عارف إنه بالكامل، لا أتعامل مع حاجة في المستقبل. so things are not that clear. project constraints. What's the meaning of project constraints؟ اللي هي العوائق بشكل عام. وإيش الأشياء what are the limitations، وإيش الأشياء اللي ما ممكن أن أتجاوزها في هذا المشروع اللي هي creating a tower. Okay, so we can see إنه the basic triangle of management, we call it a triangle of management اللي هو مثلث الإدارة, consists of three basic elements which are cost, scope and time. So لما أرجع على التاور I was restricted with a certain amount of money. I was restricted with $2,000. So I cannot go beyond 2,000. أنا عندي limit 2000 ما أقدر أتجاوز 2000. Okay. Time is 20. I cannot go and do it in 30 minutes حتى لو كان مشروع مالي أفضل مشروع. إذا أنت في حالة أنك أنت سلمت المشروع بعد التايم then nobody will come to you. So it's not going to be acceptable. Scope. So your scope is a tower. So أنا ما ممكن مثلا أروح أعمل له مقسم مدرسة. The scope was very clear to create a tower. Okay. This triangle of management ممكن إنه it can be extended to three further things. Okay. طبعا الأساسيات which are cost, time and scope, and then we can have three further which are resources, quality and risk. So in terms of resources are restricting somehow. يعني في حالة إنه عندي نوع ثاني من resources ممكن قد يكون يسهل لي المهمة ويعطيني مجال أكبر إني أنا أبدع في التاور مالي. Risk as well. Risk is going to be as a constraint for you. يحدك من كثير أشياء. يعني في حالة مثلا أنا مثلا الماتيريال اللي كان مستخدم في حالة التاور is going to be paper مثلا. استخدم في ورق الA4 and then the glue that I have brought is super glue. You can see that it's very hard for you to combine the A4 papers with the super glue. Maybe with the tape glue it will be easier. So for example risk is always going to constrain you, to be a constraint for you. Quality as well. You are always aiming for something which is a high standard. That is going to be a constraint for you. So all of these things are limiting you. They are controlling you. I need to have good management in terms of cost, time, scope, quality, risk, resources. Otherwise it will not work it out. Okay, that's the meaning of constraints. Limitations. If I exceed these limitations, if I didn't take care of them, then my project is going to be a losing project. going for the definition of the project. الحين عرفنا كثير أشياء، عرفنا attributes of the project، عرفنا إنه في عندي limitation يعتمد على حسب المشروع. Limitation. There are basic 3 limitations وممكن they can be extending to another 3. So إذا جينا نعرف project, how to define the project. So project can be business. A lot of us think that project is business. A lot of us relate project to college projects. A lot of us think that the project is an aim، هدف معين، إذا أريد أحقق هدف معين إذا هو مشروع. نفس الشيء always when it comes to a project it's a teamwork. So all of these are going to enter into one definition of a project, and the proper definition according to PMBOK is a temporary endeavor. Temporary, we have said it has a beginning and end. Endeavor is tasks or series of tasks undertaken to create a unique product, service or result. Okay, so it's a task or a series of tasks that are having a beginning and end, and we are doing it for the first time to create something unique. That's a basic definition. So أي مشروع له بداية ونهاية، أو أي تاسك له بداية ونهاية وأنا أعمله للمرة الأولى من دون تكرار. This is called as a project or مشروع. Project management knowledge areas. طبعا مثل ما قلت لكم PMBOK قسم إدارة المشاريع إلى حاجتين. واحد اللي هي processes اللي شفناها سابقا، اللي هي عبارة عن initiation، planning، execution، controlling والclosing. وفي حاجة ثانية اللي هي knowledge areas which are 10. طبعا PMBOK هو أساس الاختبارين الاثنين اللي ذكرت لكم إياهم في البداية، اللي هو عبارة عن PMB و CAPM. PMB يعتمد بشكل رئيسي على البروسيس جروبس اللي هن الخمسة، بينما CAPM اللي هو البيسك examination for a project management certified associate project management يعتمد mainly على knowledge areas. Okay, so أساسيات knowledge areas مطلوبة منك على أساس إنها to be called as an associate, certified associate project manager. Okay, طبعا بالنسبة لل knowledge areas, there are 10 knowledge areas. As you can see them here, we have integration, scope management, schedule, cost, quality, resources, communication, risk management, procurement, stakeholder management. كل واحد منهم له معنى معين، له أهمية معينة. كل واحد منهم according to the PMBOK له input, tools, techniques and then output. Input هي الأشياء اللي نحتاجها على أساس أن أبدأ هذه العملية. Tools and techniques are the الأشياء اللي تخدمني على أساس أعمل هذه العملية. والoutput is final thing I'm receiving after finishing this particular task. Okay, so that's whatever we call it ITTO or ITTO. Okay, input, techniques, tools and then output. Okay, الحين مثل ما نشوف we have these 10 knowledge areas. Starting, we are going to start with the scope management and we are going to end up with the integration. Okay, now for the scope management, it's all about defining and managing work required. Okay, so in that particular example, it has been said that you need to create a tower. Creating anything other than the tower, it means that you didn't stick to your scope. So if your scope is wrong, then your whole project is wrong. Okay, so at the beginning, when it comes to a project, I need to know exactly what to be done. So that's why we need to have a scope management. And in order for you to have a proper scope management, there are a lot of things that you need to do. And one of them is work breakdown structure, in which you are going to divide your project into different tasks. And then we can see this one in the fundamentals of project management too. Okay, so for example, I have been given a task which is designing a two-story villa. Okay, and I had engineer 1 and I had engineer 2. Okay, now engineer 1 has showed me something. Okay, and then before going to engineering, it has summarized. I have summarized the point saying that you need to identify what's needed from you and do it. You don't need to do something extra, you don't need to do something lesser. Okay? You are only asked to do something which is required. That's a scope management. Okay, so first person, I asked him to make for me a villa, but he wanted to show that he is capable of doing a lot of things, so he has done for me a multi-story villa. The second one, he has done for me a two-story villa. Now, although engineer number 1 has done something which is bigger, but engineer 2 has stick to whatever has been asked. So in this case, engineer 2 is the one who has done the correct thing. Okay, remember the task was to design a two-story villa. Okay, going for schedule management, and in schedule management we need to do certain things in schedule management, estimating the project activities and then developing project schedules and then monitoring and controlling as well. Once again, in terms of PMBOK, there are a lot of processes involved in each and every knowledge areas. I'll try to cover them in a separate let's say lecture. And then, for example, let's say that I have given a task which is to arrive to the college for 8 a.m. exam. So I have an exam at 8 a.m. and then I'm staying half an hour away from the college. So 30 minutes duration is to arrive to the college. There are two options, student 1 and then we have student number 2. So student number 1 has, or before going to student number 1, so the basic hint here is to give some flexibility in your schedule always. So for example, I know that there are 30 minutes to go, but maybe there is a traffic jam, maybe my car is breakdown, so my car is punctured, for example. A lot of things can happen and I don't want to lose my examination. I cannot attend after 8, they will not allow me. So student number 1, he has left his home at 7 o'clock. Student number 2 has left his home at 7:30. So the first one, he has kept 1 hour instead of half an hour. The second one exactly kept half an hour. Now the proper project manager is the person who will keep some flexibility in it. Now you should go for student number 1 because student number 1 has taken into account that there might be something wrong happening while going to the college. Maybe my car is not having enough fuel, so I need to go and stop to the petrol station to refuel it. Okay, so the basic idea of schedule management here. If you require to complete a task a certain amount of time, then for you in your schedule you need to keep always extra amount of time. Okay, and the reason is you cannot guarantee in real project, you cannot guarantee that your employees are going to have always the same performance in each and every day. You cannot ensure that none of them is going to get sick, for example. Okay, so that's a basic function of that's a basic idea of schedule management. Now going for course management, and then it's related to preparing and managing budget. So what's the meaning of budget, what's the meaning of uh, let's say expenses, a lot of things which are not that clear, and they are going to be cleared out in further lectures. Okay, budget is, to summarize, budget is the total amount that has been kept for a project. So the total amount for this particular project is 10 million Oman riyal, and the budget is 10 million Oman riyal. I cannot exceed my budget. Okay, so the task here asks, I need to go and purchase a taxi drive. I need to go and purchase an iPhone 11 Pro Max. It costs in the shops 500 riyals. I need to go with the taxi driver because I don't have my car. Okay, that's a basic project that I'm having. Okay. Now there are two people. Okay. One is the first person. He took 500 Oman riyals with him. The second one, he carried 540 Oman riyal. Okay. So the first one, when he went, to the to the shop, he has purchased his iPhone. When he wanted to purchase his iPhone, he took his iPhone, and then he took another cover, and then he forgot about the 5 riyals which are there for the taxi drive. So it cost for him around 515 riyals, while he only carried 500 riyals. So actually he cannot go and purchase all the things that he wants. Second person, once again he took the 500 riyals from him, 5 riyals for the taxi driver, and then 10 riyals, keeping in mind that he kept 40 riyals extra. So this person can take all the things that he has chosen earlier. Okay. What does it mean? It means if I have a budget of 10 million Oman riyal, I'll not keep 10 million Oman riyal to be my expenses. Okay, I need to keep something called contingencies. أعمل مثل مبالغ الطوارئ. So إذا أنا الميزانية العامة لهذا المشروع 10 ملايين، بعمل إنه المصاريف لهذا المشروع مثلا 8 ملايين و500 ألف. مليون و500 ألف. This will be considered as a contingencies. Okay, so I'll not play with them. Okay, and in uh, in planning, we are going to take further graphs, which will explain this particular thing. But once again, the budget is the total amount that I have kept. Okay, the expenses, how much the tasks are going to be costing me, is something which is lesser always. I need to keep a difference between them. That's contingencies. Okay, going for quality management, and once again, in quality management, quality means standards. So I need to stick to certain standards. عندي standard معينة, I need to follow it. Okay. So I'm representing manufacturing or a manufacturer. نحن نعمل juices, 500 milli juices, plus or minus 20 milli is acceptable. So مثلا 500, 510, 520, 480, 490 acceptable. 550 not acceptable. 450 not acceptable. It's not within the range. Okay. So I have manufacturer 1 and I have manufacturer 2. Manufacturer 1 showed that his bottle is totally full. Manufacturer 2, he has presented to me that the bottle is still half. Now, of course, for me, I'll follow manufacturer number 1 because he has stick to his standard. That's the meaning of quality management. Now, according to your organization is having a certain standard. Following that standard is the correct thing. Okay, that's what we call it as quality management. Even sometimes you know that there is another thing which is correct, but according to whatever document presented to you, you need to go and follow it. That's a quality management. Quality is cross-checking against something. Okay, so I have a book, I have a standard, cross-checking it against the standard is whatever we call it as quality management. Okay, so أنا عندي مثلا when it comes to construction project, عندي I have a certain specifications. Following the specification, it means that this project is having quality required. Not fulfilling the specification, it means that this particular project or this particular construction site does not have that quality. Okay. Resources management, this is a very huge topic, uh, which are going to be covered as well in planning. So in short, you need to effectively use your your employees. So the task: hiring and loads allocation for staff. There are two colleges, okay, and we are going to evaluate how they are hiring, how they are putting the loads for the staffs. So university 1, and then we have university 2. So you need to keep two things in your head while implementing resources management. One, you need to hire the one deserved, and then you need to stop overloading. So university 1, the college was asking for an architect, but I have given them a civil engineer. There are 4 staff members, there are 4 lecturers. 2 of them are loaded with 4 classes or 4 courses. 2 of them are loaded with 2 courses. Okay. Now it appears clearly here that they didn't choose the correct person to do the correct job. So of course this particular civil engineer is going to do a lot of things which are wrong. He is going to do a lot of things in what we can call it. He will do it in a rough way. And then always these 2 lecturers will always feel why the others have been given more work, or why they have been given less work. Okay. While going for university 2, you will see architect, and they have hired an architect. 4 lecturers, each one of them is having 3 courses. Here in this particular university, you will see that of course the level of education is going to get better, or is better. Why? They have chosen the correct person for the correct position, and they didn't overload. When you don't overload, you will not see a person who is going to say for the other one, see why this person is having the same or the other one is having another thing. Okay? So a good project manager is a person who will try to avoid having differences among his employees. So of course university 2 is going to be the best option. Communication management, once again this is a huge topic. Unfortunately a lot of projects are losing, or a lot of projects are failing due to communication management. We don't give a lot of credits for communication management. In short, it's dealing with information, and I'll show you what communication can do for you. So the task, as a project manager, I want to check the progress of an important meeting with a supplier. So let's say that this particular supplier is coming to Oman from the UK, for example, is coming to Oman from the UK. Okay, he's coming only for 1 day, and I asked my secretary. I'm the project manager. I have asked my secretary to go and send an email to my senior engineer. Okay, that you senior engineer, you need to go and meet this particular supplier, so we can see what things to be taken from him. Okay. So manager number 1 and then manager number 2. Okay. In short here, poor communication can destroy your entire work. Now, how to show that one? See, manager number 1, he asked his secretary to send an email. Now, in the organization, there were 2 silent sides. One is a senior engineer. The second one is a driver. Okay. Now, for the secretary, she sent it wrongly to the driver. Now, due to this particular communication error, the senior engineer didn't know that there is a meeting. So if he didn't know that there is a meeting, it means that everything is failed. Manager number 2, no, he cross-checked with the secretary. The secretary has sent it to the correct person. The other knowledge area is risk management, and you see in risk management there is something called identifying, analyzing, responding to threats. We are going to cover that one as well in initiating and planning. There is a basic difference between risk and hazard. Okay, hazard is something which is uncertain, while risk is something which is certain. Okay, so for example, I have a task. Task is I need to do I need to plant 600 trees, and there were two farmers, farmer number one and farmer number two. Now farmer number one, he started what you call estimating the planning or the time required to plant. So he said planting time required for each tree is going to be 5 minutes. So total planting time is 3000 minutes. So I require 50 hours, directly dividing 3000 minutes by 60 minutes, so I know number of hours, 50 hours. So I need to do it in three days. It means that he is going to do around 16 or 17 hours per day to plant, which is not something which is reasonable. Okay, he might be having a problem that layers of stones are there, or there might be what you call a person who cannot come, or there might be a problem that I couldn't supply him with, or he couldn't get the supplement of the trees. So a lot of things to be taken into account. You always need to take a certain extra time, because you will not know what risks are going to be happening. So farmer number two, what he has done, he said planting time required for each tree is 5 minutes. Required time is 3000 minutes. Extra time for anything, he is taking extra time for risks, 200 minutes extra just in case. Workers daily working hours 8 hours. So for me, I can do it for you in 7 days. If I finished earlier, then it's not an issue. Okay, because he has kept 200 hours as a spare, as a contingency, تحتياط. Okay, so for me, I'll go for the second option, because I know that the first person is not going to finish it. It's not reliable. It's not realistic to finish it in 3 days. Okay, so for you in risk management, when you are going to deal with project management, you need to have something which is realistic. You cannot take something which is really crushed, شيء مضغوط للغاية. لا، انتوا لازم تاخذوا risk into account that something might be happening. Procurement management, once again, this is an area that we are losing a lot in our construction industry here in Oman. So we need to properly have a database. The summary is getting purchasing goods, services from vendors, contractor, others. Basically, I need to have a proper database in which I can say that if I require this particular material, then I can go get it from this particular person. Okay, so I need to purchase cement for construction, and I have engineer one, procurement engineer one, and then I have procurement engineer two. Okay, now engineer number one, he has only one supplier. He is dealing only with one supplier, that's Oman Cement Company. The second engineer was having 3 different suppliers, and each supplier is having different types of cement. Okay, so which one is going to be better for me? First engineer or second engineer? Of course, I'll be choosing the second engineer. He has a wider database. His database is going to help me. For example, what will happen if Oman Cement Company has shut down, for example, in terms of something has happened like COVID or coronavirus right now, and then Oman Cement stopped working. Raisut might be working, Pioneer might be working. So if I have a larger database, that larger database is going to help me. So procurement management is all about having a good database in which if I require a certain amount of material, I should know which supplier is going to give it to me, and what price, and how much time he requires, and what quality of material that he is supplying me. Okay, so if you know that, then your task is going to be easier. So for example, let's say I have two options of going to get an iPhone. For example, I can go to Rowi, search for the whole Rowi, or for example the new iPad. Okay, I can go and search for the whole new Rowi to get the new iPad, or I have already a list of main shops who are selling these particular iPads. So calling them, do you have it or not? First person, he does not have a database. He is only going to search. Second one, no, he is having a database. Now having that database is going to solve a lot of your issues, going to save you a lot of money, a lot of time as well. So here second engineer or second procurement engineer is going to be the one to be chosen. Stakeholder management. Once again, stakeholders are uh, individuals that are going to be with you from the beginning of the project till the end of the project. There is a big basic difference between a stakeholder and a shareholder. A stakeholder is any person who's going to be having an influence in your project, or he is going to be getting affected by your project. أي شخص يتأثر أي شخص يأثر بالمشروع is going to be considered as a stakeholder. So مثلا إذا أنا أبني بيت، العامل، البلدية، أنا كشخص، مثلا البنك إذا البنك يمول لي، جيراني، suppliers, subcontractors, consultant, all of them are considered to be stakeholders لأنهم كلهم يأثروا أو يتأثروا بطريقة معينة. Shareholders are the persons who owns a share. مثلا أنا عندي business وعندي 3 شركاء. هذول ال3 شركاء are called shareholders. Each one of them is having a certain share. Okay. Now, stakeholder management is very important knowledge area, since stakeholders are being with you from the beginning of the project till the end of the project. Okay, they'll be influencing a lot your initiation stage. Your choices will be controlled a lot by your stakeholders. Okay, so مثلا I want to construct something which is wow, but the municipality is not allowing me, which is one of the stakeholders. So stakeholders at the beginning, they will control you a lot. Okay, so you need to know how to deal with them. You need to know how to attract them. You need to know how to satisfy them. You need to know how to control them. So basically, in stakeholder management, we need to identify, analyze stakeholders, proper solutions, proper decisions to be made for stakeholders as well. So, for example, let's say that I want to establish a coffee shop. Okay, and I have two businessmen, businessman number 1 and then businessman number 2. Businessman number 1, okay, he has identified the location, he has identified the employees. So in the location he has identified, for example, the competitors. I don't have I don't have a lot of coffee shops in that location, and then these are the employees that I require. While the other businessman, no, he has involved more stakeholders. He has taken location into account. I need to have a place that is not having a lot of coffee shops. I need to have this amount of employees. I need to go and cross-check in this particular location. Will I get the required number of customers that I want? And then once again, competitors. Okay. Now, is there any competitors nearby in that particular location? Sponsors. Will I get certain sponsors? Suppliers. Who are my suppliers? Now you can say the first person might be successful, but he will not be as successful as the other person, because the other person have studied all the things required for him. Okay, so A successful project is a project that is going to be involving all the stakeholders from the beginning till the end. Okay, you need to know how to attract them to you. You need to know how to that they satisfy them. Last one is integration management. Now, of course, we have talked about 9 knowledge areas. These 9 knowledge areas, you might be seeing that they have what you call included a lot of things in each other. I mean, a lot of knowledge. I mean, some of the knowledge areas in other knowledge areas. And the reason is that we cannot work knowledge areas separately. For me, in a project, these knowledge areas they should be interrelated to each other, and that's the duty of the integration management. Okay, so it's like a puzzle. Each piece is going to be a certain piece of that project puzzle. I cannot work my project without having this particular knowledge area, but they cannot work it out without properly integrating. And we can see later in, let's say, in initiation, what's the meaning of integration management according to PMBOK. Last two things that we are going to cover is project management and then project managers. So after we have finished all the things that we have taken earlier, we can summarize or we can define what's a project management. So we used to have knowledge areas. We are using tools, techniques which are there. Tools like the knowledge areas that we have studied, the 10, the tools which are there to make our tower. Project activities, these are the project activities. Okay, so once again, so we are applying knowledge, the knowledge areas, skills, tools and techniques to whatever project activities that I'm going to have to meet project requirements. So there are 3 things that I need to have. One is knowledge, skills, tools and techniques. Okay, these are representing the input and the tools and techniques. So I need to use these inputs, which are the knowledge areas, the resources, all the techniques that are available to my tasks in order to meet the requirements, which are the constraints. So I have constraints of $2,000. I need to have 20 minutes, and then I need to create a tower. So the proper definition of a project management is applying knowledge, tools and techniques to tasks or project activities in order to maintain or in order to meet the project requirements, which are the constraints at the end. Project managers. So, for example, this picture is representing a person who is doing an art. We call it as an artist. This is representing a picture for a person who is writing. So we call it as a writer. And then project management, the person who is doing the project management is called as a project manager. So the project manager is a person who is applying tools, techniques, knowledge areas to project activities to maintain whatever requirements are there for the project. There are certain things to be covered here in in the project manager, which are skills and challenges. Okay. Now for the skills, there are different skills which are there according to the PMBOK as well. And so the first one is team building. Now we have said from the beginning I need to choose 4 or 5 members. Okay. So I need to be very picky. It does not mean that I'm going to choose my friends. No, I need to choose the proper person for the proper activity. That's the duty of the project manager. So for example, I have a construction project. First project manager, he has chosen different members for different jobs: civil engineers, architect, MEP engineer, foreman, mason, labor. And then while the other one has chosen only civil engineers, of course, the perfect project manager is not going to consider only one area. He's going to consider whatever areas are required. So the one who's going to be the successful project manager is the left side project manager. Communication. Once again, construction project. Uh, The left side project manager is shy, he is computer illiterate, means he does not know how to use computer, and then he is messy, he does not organize things, while the other one is confident, linguist, means he knows a lot of languages, computer literate, he knows how to use computer, and then organize. Of course, for me, I want a person who knows how to deliver the information. He shouldn't be shy, he should be confident of himself. So of course it's going to be the right side project management. Leadership, two construction projects once again. The first one, they are doing certain amount of work, and this particular project manager is helping them in order to do that particular work, while the other one is going to instruct them, he is ordering them to do the work. Now for me, I will deal with the leader who is going to show me that, see, I'm going to be here always to make the work with you, rather than a person who is ordering me to do the work. So the perfect project manager is a leader rather than being a manager. Okay. So a leader can be a manager, but not all managers are leaders. Planning. So let's say that we are talking about online learning and COVID and coronavirus that's happening right now. Two schools are there, or two institutions, or two universities are there. One of them was having online learning. They have set up all the things required from the beginning before having the coronavirus. They have started using online learning, while the other one started only to use online learning after corona has happened. Now, of course, the first or the left side institution is going to be more ready, and they have prepared everything, and they didn't have a lot of rush to do the things, while the second one is rushing the things to do the online learning. So of course the winning is going to be the left side, school. Budgeting. Let's say that I'm being a person who's going to UK. There is a UK trip, okay, and according to whatever data that I have received from the people who went to UK previously, it will cost you around 1,500. Now, my friend, I'm going to go with one of them. The first one, he told me that I'm going to divide it 500 for the tickets, another one 300 for the hotels, and so on. He has divided all the money into certain amount, and he has kept certain amount for contingencies. While the other person, he said, don't need to divide, we are going to go directly with the 1500. Now, of course, the person who's going to be a proper project manager is a person who will divide his amount of money. So he will know that this particular estimate is going to be sufficient for me or not. Okay. And for next projects, for example, if I require more money, then I need to include that particular thing in the coming projects. Okay, in something called lessons learned. Okay. Motivation and influencing. Okay, so let's say that this particular person, whether he is going to be having that project management quality or not, two lecturers are there. One student has got an A, so he has written for him A plus, and the other lecturer has written for the student that A plus plus, excellent. He has told him that excellent. Okay. Now, this particular lecturer who is on the right side, he has motivated the student more, saying that you are excellent is better than saying only that E plus is here. Okay, so of course the student will try to do something more in order to get another excellent from him. The same thing will be happening for construction. Whenever you are trying to be generous, you are trying to give, let's say, promotions with your employees. You are giving them all the credits for their work. So of course they will work for you harder. And even if you ask them to work a certain time, like now COVID, if you are being mean with them, you are being very hard with them, you didn't give them any promotion, you didn't give them anything previously, they will not come and work for you. They will not come unless it's required. But now, in case of you were giving them promotions, you were giving them everything they require, of course, whenever any problem will happen, you will see them always being with you, supporting you. So that's a good thing in motivation. Now, influencing. The second lecturer, the left side lecturer, what he has done, he has separated the good students from the bad students. Okay, he kept them separated, and he was saying always that, see, the good students are doing the same, while you are not doing the same. While the right side lecturer, what he has done, he has grouped them, or he has mixed them. He has mixed them in such a way that the what you call the average student will get he will get the learning from the good students. So everyone is going to complete the other person. So here, the right side person, or the right side lecturer, he has promoted influencing. He is trying to influence the average students to be a good student, to be a good student, while the second lecturer, or the left side lecturer, he didn't do anything. So he didn't influence them. He just kept the bad ones, or the average ones, separately, and the good ones separately. Of course, for me, I require a person who will keep me. Like, for example, if I'm not training in a company, in a construction company. Of course, I don't want to be treated as a trainee sitting separately. No, I want to be mixed with the other people, so I learn from them. I'm trying to influence, to be influenced as a trainee. So a good project manager is going to be the person who will try to motivate and influence. Negotiation. Two people, two persons, they were aiming to purchase a house. The house was planned to be sold for 200,000 Omani Riyal. The first one, on the left side, he said like, okay, I'll give you 170. The owner refused. He said, I'll give you 175. The owner once again refused. And then at the last he said, I'll give you 180 as a maximum value. And the owner has accepted. Now, while the right side person, he has given 200 directly. Now, of course, for me as an owner, I want a person who can go and negotiate it. I want to have a person who will give me the best possible price, or the best possible option. So of course, the good person who is going to be negotiating. The same thing with the 5 minutes. You remember when we said 5 minutes? Uh, um, 5 minutes extra can be given for the tower example. If you are a good negotiator, you will convince the panel to give you 5 minutes. If you are not a good one, if you are a shy person, if you cannot express your things, if you cannot have proper communication as well, or negotiation skills, you cannot get whatever you want. So the best person here is a left side person. Conflicts management. Once again, conflicts are a huge issue. I need a person who knows how to deal with conflicts. Okay, so I'm a project leader. Okay, we are a group of 5 members. Okay, now we need to go and present our project at the end of the semester. Okay. We have only one person, or we have the choice to choose one person only to present. Or it has been given for me that 10 minutes are there. 10 minutes are there for me to present. Okay. The first person, uh, once again having two project managers, two students. The first student, or the first team member, has said, I'm the better speaker, and the second one said, no, I'm the better speaker. Okay. Now, let's see how both project managers dealt, or team project leaders dealt with the thing, and we just judge which one is better. Now, the first one, he said, it's not my problem, we need to agree on one. While the left side member, he said, no, okay, both of you are going to present a certain part. So if 10 minutes are there, you present for 5 minutes, and then you present for 5 minutes. So there was a conflict, there was a problem happening, and then one person, he said, I don't care about your problem, you go and solve it yourself. Second one, he said, No, I'm going to get you a solution. Of course, I want a person who will get me a solution. I don't want to have a person who will not help me out. So, for example, let's say let's say that I'm an engineer in a construction company, and I have done a mistake, for example, in procurement, in purchasing certain items, in making the bill or something, and I know that I have made a mistake. Now, I don't want my project manager to be a person who will say for me that this is your mistake, this is your problem. No, I know that I have done a mistake. I know that there is a problem happening. I need a person who will have the initiative to go and help me out in this particular conflict, in this particular problem. Okay? So a person who will show that he is a problem solver, he is a conflict solver, he is going to be the best option, of course. Summarizing this one, I need to have a project manager who knows how to build his team. He needs to be confident, he needs to properly communicate. He needs to be a leader, not a regular manager. He needs to know how to plan things. He needs to know how to budget things out as well. He needs to motivate and influence. He shouldn't, what you call, discourage uh, the team members. He should know how to negotiate so he will get the best offers or the best options. He needs to be a problem solver and a conflict solver. All of these things will be adding up as a great project manager. And if you can see, these all of them are related to the task that we have given at the beginning. The first thing that they need to choose 5 members. They need to choose carefully. They shouldn't choose their friends. Communication. Once again, they need to pick a person, or they need to pick a leader who is going to be the project manager. He's going to be a person who knows how to communicate. A person who will work with them. A person he's not going to tell them that no, I'm a project leader, so I'll not work with you. No. So he's being a leader. He's not being a manager. He knows how to plan things and how to budget things. See, we have 20 minutes only, we have this amount of money, and then we need to think first before going and deciding what resources to be taken and then how much to be spent. So he's doing both planning and budgeting, and then motivating and influencing. He needs to work hard to show the others, see him working, so he needs to work harder as well. Negotiating, he needs to be a good negotiator. Okay, so he will get that 5 minutes that we have talked about. Conflict management. Once again, if a person has appealed, like for example, let's say that they had two sketches, okay, two sketches from two different people, and everyone is saying that my sketch is the best. So he needs to go and sort it out in such a way that everyone is going to be okay with the solution, with the final solution. So, for example, combining some of both sketches, or talking to the what you call to the conflicting parties, so they will agree on or making them agree on one sketch. Challenges, going for the last part of the session. Now, to represent this thing, project management is not something which is easy, but you can get good amount of money in project management. We don't have a lot of project management, a lot of project managers in Oman, and if we do have them, we don't have a lot of people who are accredited with PMP or uh, CAPM. Okay, now you can see here, this is according to the latest statistics in Oman, that normally the lowest earning is around 1,000, while it can go up to 200 or 2,680, and it goes more actually. Now of course there are always certain challenges are there, and we have identified 4 challenges for any project manager for whatever type of a project. um, Temporary nature, limitation on power, different backgrounds, and then client satisfaction. So temporary nature, let's say for example I'm being the project manager in a construction company. My first project was a 2-story building with a certain team members. And then eventually my construction project was not a 2-story villa, it was a twin villa. Third project was a mall, so something which is totally different from the first two. The last one was a mosque. You will see that you have a temporary nature. Whatever project you have done previously is not going to be exactly the same. That's a main function of the project. Okay? Each and every project that you are going to do is different. Each and every course that you are going to do in your college is different from the other one. Even if you have repeated the course, you will see that you have different students. You might be having different lectures, different exams. Always, it's a temporary nature. It will not always be a repetition. Repetition is called something as we call it normally as operation, and we are going to take that one in lecture number 2. Okay, so once again we said it's a temporary nature, we're not going to have the same thing, so that's being difficult. Having the same thing exactly is going to be the easy thing, but keep changing things always is not going to be something which is easy. That's a challenge. Limitation on power. Now, once again, if a lot of people will think who is going to have more power than a project manager, and then if you keep thinking in the example that I have given earlier, which is a tower. I mean, if I have a full power as a project manager, then I will change from the tower. Why would I stick to the tower? I'll change to whatever I want. No, in that case, you cannot change because you are not the topmost power person. The topmost power person is the client. Okay, so for me, I'm following whatever the client tells me. It means that I'm limited on power. True that I have certain amount of power, but the person who's having more power than me is the client. I'm doing the project for him. Okay, now you can see a labor. Above the labor is a foreman. So foreman is going to instruct the labor. Labor is going to do whatever the foreman is asking him to do. So the foreman is having more power. And then once again the engineer is having more power than the foreman. The project manager is having more power than the engineer. And then finally the owner is having more power than all of them. So I'm restricted with the power. I have certain constraints, I have certain schedule, I have certain budget, I cannot exceed them. Okay, that's why I'm limited on power. Different backgrounds. Okay, let's say that I'm having a construction project in which I'm having an architect, labor, a civil engineer, mechanical engineer, a mason. A mason is a person who is making the masonry. طابو الشخص اللي يشتغل على الطابو. We call it as a mason. HSC engineer. Okay. Now, firstly, all of them are having different specialization. Now, for me, I have only one specialization. Let's say that I'm a civil engineer, for example, or an architect, or mechanical engineer. I have only one background, which is that specialization. But I need to deal with each one of them. I need to decide in something related to health, safety, and environment. I cannot say that I don't know. I need to deal with certain things which are related to mechanical, and I need to decide once again something related to architecture or civil engineering. Let's say for example I'm from Oman, and then a lot of participants from the project are from different countries. That's once again different backgrounds. Dealing with different backgrounds is not something which is easy. Just imagine that you are a group of civil engineers and all of you are Omanis. Dealing with each other is going to be something which is easy. Dealing with people who are from different language or who is practicing different language is something which is hard. Having different specialization is something which is hard as well. So that's a challenge. How to deal with people who speaks different languages, or people who speaks different languages, or people who are having different specialization. How to decide, because finally I'm the person who's going to decide the ultimate decisions as a project manager. The last thing is client satisfaction, and always when it comes to client, you can see that it's really hard. It's really hard to satisfy. a client. It's really hard to satisfy the lecturer to get an A. It's really hard to satisfy a client, so he will think that your work is perfect, because finally it's his own work. He owns that thing, so it's really hard. Like, for example, let's say that in the construction stage there has a small crack, or whatever we call it as a what you call it, face crack, a small crack that's appearing above the above the door frame. So for me, okay, it appears to be a very small one, a hairy, we call it as a hairy crack. It's very small. So for me, the client comes to me and he said, you need to go and change the wall. Cracks in the wall. Why cracks are there in the wall? You need to change the wall. So I told him it's a hairline crack. Okay, so it's a small crack that is not affecting anything. And then it can go by plastering itself. No need to change the wall from the beginning. And then he told you, I don't care, it's a crack, you need to change it. A lot of people will say, yeah, true, it's a new house, and then um, it's a new house, and then it does not need to have a crack and whatsoever. But there is nothing perfect. Even if you are a perfect project manager, you cannot have a perfect project. Always project will be having certain um, let's say certain things, certain small errors that are acceptable. That's why when we talked about standard, it has its plus and minus. Always there will be some kind of flexibility, I think. So if the thing does not require to be changed, then it does not need to be changed. But once again, how will you convince a client? In this case, sometimes you need to talk to the client and convince him so he will accept. Otherwise, you need to change the wall. Nothing can be done for that. Now, in summary, um, we have taken basic fundamentals of project management. We have given certain tasks, and then from the task we try to extract certain project attributes. What are the basic things of project management? What is the meaning of constraints, project? What's the definition of project? What are the knowledge areas that we are having? How do you define project management? And then project managers, what are the qualities required for the project management? And then what are the challenges appearing for the project manager? These are the basic fundamental things. Uh, in next sessions we are going to have interactive examples too, where we are talking about how to talk about operation, how to talk about projects, how to differentiate between them, and as well we are going to take something called project operation, project program, and portfolio, how to differentiate between project and operation, how to differentiate between project, program, and portfolio. And then we are going to have certain basics of initiation, covering uh, once again an illustrative example in which you have been asked to create a project. You have been given a certain budget and you have been asked to create a project. And then we are going to do basic concept, how to choose a correct concept, or how to choose the ultimate best concept. What are the visibility studies? Okay, so we're going to learn different types of visibility studies, stakeholder analysis, and then risk management, project charter, which is a very important part of integration management according to PMBOK. So you will see how to choose a business, from where we are going to choose a business, and visibility study as well, cost benefit analysis, scoring models, cash flow techniques. We are going to have examples with values, explaining cost benefit analysis, how to choose, explaining scoring models. What's the meaning of scoring models? Of course, all of these are the recommended methods according to the PMBOK. Cash flow techniques that we are having, payback period, discounted cash flow, net present value, internal rate of return. What do they mean with certain examples as well? Discounted cash flow. What does it mean exactly? Using equations. And internal rate of return. So all of these are something which is similar. These are cash flow based. Cash flow, when we are talking about cash and how much flow is there, how much money is inserted inside the business or expected inside the business. And then we are going to take stakeholder analysis. It's not yet ready. We are going to do the matrices, risk management, and then project charter at the end. Thank you very much. This is Ahmed Al-Amri, and hopefully we are going to continue having the sessions in the coming days.